There's a new concept taking hold when it comes to reinvesting in communities rather than just donating money. One program is focusing on empowering small businesses, which in turn hire more people and continue the cycle. It's Goldman Sachs' 10,000 Small Businesses program, and we should note that Goldman Sachs is a partial sponsor of our show this morning. Joining us from Mount Vernon Marketplace in Baltimore, just outside a restaurant owned by one of the program's graduates, we have Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein, former mayor of New York City Michael Bloomberg, and the owner of Scrub Nail Boutique Jasmine Sims, who's graduating from the program today. Congratulations, Jasmine. Great to have you all on board this morning.
And Lloyd, we've been fortunate enough to go to many of these events through the years with you and see
Love the program.
The impact that this program is having. Talk about what you're finding after doing this for several years. How is this program taking root in communities and really helping people start their own small businesses?
Oh, thanks a lot, Joe. We've been doing this for about 7 years now. We're up to 14 cities, and we also have a national program that brings people together in classes where we are operating in communities that are too small to justify a dedicated program. But where we've done this, we found entrepreneurs who are in business, have done kind of well, and need to break out to the next level. And that's kind of a sweet spot where we can get real job growth. If we could just take people who've been committed, proven, have the ambition, have the concept, and sort of get them to leverage themselves a little bit more, provide them with capital, provide them with a business education that has components of negotiation, how to request financing, supply some financing in many cases, how to negotiate, deal with their employees, and most of all, give confidence to people who are pretty terrific to begin with. And as a result of this, employment takes off in these places.
Mayor Bloomberg, it's Willie Geist. Good to see you this morning. I know you're on the advisory board here. Talk a little bit, if you can, about the climate right now for small business. President Trump has touted in the last several days the stock market. He's touted low unemployment. What's it like for an entrepreneur like Jasmine right now trying to start a business in this country?
Well, all the job growth, Willie, in the United States has been in small businesses for a while. People are moving from big companies to small companies. Small companies have the advantage of they're typically local. They're typically where you can get some ownership in them. They're typically where you can bring your skills to bear without being overburdened and having to go retrain. And what we need to do is to create more small businesses throughout the country to give people who are losing jobs in industries that are being phased out because of technology or changing tastes or people moving, give them jobs where they are using the skills that they have. We can talk about big companies and getting more skills, but that's where automation is going to continue to reduce employment. It's the small businesses where personal service really makes a difference and where they can't afford a lot of big technology projects that are going to motor our economy along and give people the dignity of a job and the ability to take care of their families.
So, Jasmine, I want to hear your story, especially as it pertains to some of the challenges that you face in Baltimore. Mayor Bloomberg, of course, has had a huge impact in Baltimore with Johns Hopkins University. Jasmine, though, trying to get a business going and moving in the city of Baltimore, how has the program helped you? But what are some of the challenges you still face?
So I started my business with little to no resources. So I struggled a lot just trying to figure it out on my own through trial and error. But when I came across this program, I knew it offered the structure and the strategy that I needed to really take my business to the next level. They're different centers. They help you only get started. So once you go through the process of beginning to run your business and you run into certain pitfalls and roadblocks, you need to know how to navigate those challenges. So this program really helped open my eyes to just a great group of instructors and professors who came from all over the place, who really helped us zone in on what our opportunities were and how to navigate those and use the resources that we have, and also the members of our cohort, those resources from them as well.
Hey, Lloyd, we've been talking about small businesses here, but obviously there also is a lot of concern about what's happening with the economy in general. You've got the president saying that this is the best economy that we've had in a very long time. I'm just wondering, what are you looking at, not only in the United States, but across the world, as far as our standing and companies that aren't just contained inside the borders of the United States? What's the climate like?
Well, Joe, it may not be the best economy we've had for a long time, but it's pretty good. If you were transported down here, if you were frozen in an iceberg for 4 years, and you woke up, came out, thawed, and you saw an economy that's at full employment, low energy prices, basically balance sheets have been cured, a lot of cash, again, low rates, you'd think, and again, people may not like the job they have in every case, but they never do. And so we're here at a kind of full employment situation now. I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say the political environment is very bad. And when you're dealing with the economy, it's not just science. You're dealing also with sentiment. So, of course, there's an interaction between the politics and the economy, because at the end of the day, economy requires confidence. And so it could be better. And there's some frustration about the fact that it could be better. But really, Joe, financial conditions and economic conditions are really not as bad as the politics would suggest.
So, Mike Barnicle.
Mr. Mayor, you just heard what Lloyd said. The Dow yesterday rockets through 22,000. Everybody, front page stories about the Dow Jones and the stock market is great. Why do you think there is, or do you think there is, such a lack of faith among middle-income Americans in the economy today? In their immediate future is paycheck to paycheck, month to month. Why that lack of faith, given all those numbers that Lloyd just accurately pointed out?
Well, change is always difficult to deal with because it takes you into the unknown, and it's much more comfortable to continue to do what you're doing. Unfortunately, the world doesn't let you do that. You have to change. And I think what's happening is some industries are going away, some industries are coming back. What we need to do is to have more global trade, because that creates jobs in America. Unfortunately, some of the politicians try to convince the public the reverse, but it's just not true. We need to be able to export our products around the world. We need to be able to buy raw materials from around the world to build our products, and we need to be able to retrain our people and start new businesses. So we need immigrants here to start new businesses. We need immigrants here to do some of the jobs that Americans don't want to do, and Americans want jobs that pay more and require more training, and that's great, but somebody has to fill in behind them. And so, as Lloyd said, the stock market says that the economy is reasonably good. There are some industries that are suffering. If you take a look at retail, because of the shared economy, because of electronic sales like Amazon, companies that let you not have to go to the local store, we have to realize that different jobs are going to be the jobs available, and we can't just sit there and bemoan or try to stop the oceans, the tides from coming in. And I think it's too early to tell with this administration. They've only been in office for 6 months. And so let's see what happens down the road. But at the moment, Lloyd's right. The economy is not terrible. It could always be better. Some people are suffering, but a lot of people are benefiting. And those in the middle of the country where a lot of the jobs are going away have to be given opportunities. And that's what we should focus on, of bringing new kinds of businesses there rather than trying to stop old businesses from declining, because nobody's going to be able to do that.
Mika, it
also
is.
some of the stress.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of the stress is also, the economy is supposed to, a good economy does two things. It generates wealth and it distributes it. And there's some, I'd say, there's more stress right now over the distribution than there is over the ability to generate. But I have to say, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that whatever we do doesn't hurt the country's ability to generate wealth, even as the political sector debates how the wealth that's generated gets distributed.
I mean, Mika, and if you look at the economy today compared to 8 years ago, 9 years ago, after 2008,
right,
it is incredible. Double-digit inflation, down into the 4s at the end of 2016. It's been a pretty good turnaround.
So, Jasmine, I want to hear what your goals are. Where do you want to be a year from now in terms of your business? And also, can I be a member of your nail boutique? Because I go to Baltimore like 3 times a year.
Of course. So at my nail salon, we have a membership program. Our members pay a monthly fee, and they get unlimited manicure services whenever they want, whenever they feel like it. You get a chip, you can come and we'll see you. But a year from now, we plan to have at least 10 locations around Baltimore City. We're right now expanding to have express versions of our full-service nail salon so that our members can go anywhere in the city and redeem their benefits where it's most convenient for them. So we can be the gem of nail salons.
How many people work for you, Jasmine?
4.
And how many will you have a year from now?
Oh, probably about at least 30.
All right.
I'm liking it.
That's a
The
pretty-
demand.
That is fantastic.
That's
Would
a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's great. Jasmine Sims, congratulations on graduating on this program
Thank
My
today.
you.
next trip to Baltimore, I'm coming.
We
with my
will,
daughter.
yeah, we'll see you there.
Get my nails
Lloyd
done.
Blankfein.
We'll be waiting for you. I'll be looking for you.
Okay. And Lloyd, Willie and I, being men of our time, we are populists,
No.
but we still are waiting for the offer to work at Goldman Sachs. We're not good with numbers,
No.
but you know what? We'll.
He's used to making good business decisions, Joe.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, that's
Lloyd
just that.
Blankfein, Michael Bloomberg, thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Joe, you have too much hair to work at Goldman Sachs.
Okay. Well, there you go. Once again, discriminated. against. That
Exactly.
makes me
Poor
sad.
guy.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Still
you,
ahead
Mr.
this
Mayor.
morning.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.